November 2024, you did something that you have then had significant backlash, career fallout.
I'd had a struggle with cancel culture, the throwing out of basic rule of law,
the throwing out of common sense.
When the misinformation bill came in, I was like, okay, no, this is no longer just people and idiots and music industry people and whatever. This is the government controlling speech and getting a bit Soviet.
And then also your publicist also resigned.
Yeah,
off the back
publicist resigned,
yes.
Crew resigned.
What was their reasoning?
People don't know this, but music industry people, some intern that works for a social media company that you hire, they refuse to post on X. Like, I've even got sort of family members who didn't want to publicly associate with me. And I'm like, well, we can hang out privately at Christmas, but you don't want to publicly be associated with me? Like, that people are not that dumb. And they go, okay, there's a control here.
You're watching the JJ Podcast.
Hayley Mary, Melbourne singer-songwriter, thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us today. There's a lot that we want to cover with you and what has happened to you over the past 18 months or so. Let's go straight back to the start because some of our audience may not have heard of what has happened to you. Let's go back to November 2024, where you did something that you have then had significant backlash and career fallout. Take us through that incident.
Well, it's funny, Jamies. I don't actually see it as something that happened to me because I feel like that almost puts it into kind of a victim narrative. It was something that I knew would happen as a result of an action I decided to take and planned quite in advance. I mean, not the exact specific moment or what I would say and when I would say it, but the idea that I would at some point, I'd been struggling with the culture of the music industry and general, but like it's particularly bad. Obviously, I'm talking about, I guess, cancel culture, wokeness. A lot of people don't know what that is, which baffles me. But I think it's the creep of like cultural Marxism coming into the West in all of its institutions and corporations and various areas of society, and people being intimidated out of speaking against it. This has been happening in the arts for ages. I mean, it's kind of place that you don't mind a bit of lefty kind of anti-authoritarian, anti-the patriarchy, whatever, like play around, be a rebel as an artist. That's fine. We all do it when we're 16 and 20 and all that stuff. But then you start going, oh, actually there's worse places in the world than the West. And like maybe, anyway, so basically I'd had a struggle with the cancel culture, the throwing out of basic, rule of law type innocence, and
the throwing out of common sense.
Yeah, just like legal principles that I just felt like you should have a trial and you shouldn't have your life ruined because someone said something on the internet. And I don't think Triple J is the arbiter of justice. I don't understand why the music industry thinks that they have a moral place to adjudicate when someone's done some kind of crime, allegedly, or even social crime. I don't really understand where that crept in and why so many people allowed it. I had a few friends that were cancelled and I think they thought I was backing them because they were my friends. And I was like, no, it's not really that, actually. It's because I think if you're going to be tried for something, it should actually be properly, if it's going to have serious consequences, it should probably be in a court of law with like peers. And, we have these processes for a reason. They didn't used to have them and people could just get stoned, So I just thought it was going back to some weird, anti-justice principles, basically. And yeah, I let it happen for ages. And
how long since the photo was taken wearing the MAGA hat until you decided to post it?
But you also posted the MAGA hat because you were protesting a bill that was being rushed through Parliament here. Yes, but you did the picture to be able to get attention of what you were protesting about the bill.
So I guess what I was talking about with the culture, which we all know was happening, I was kind of like, this is bad, but it's still kind of culture, like people choosing to boycott, people being idiots and saying stuff that's not true. But, but when the misinformation bill came in, which I'm sure you're aware of, I'm guessing your listeners are aware of, I was like, okay, no, this is no longer just people and idiots and music industry people and whatever. This is the government, like, controlling speech and getting a bit Soviet. Like, it's actually serious when the government starts legislating. Not to say that cancel culture isn't serious, but I was like, okay, you can't let the government control alternative media and that kind of thing. It just seems too, like, you want to control the outcome of elections and you want to control people, stop people seeing alternative information that you definitely covered up and all these kinds of things. So I just thought, okay, if this is the time, if there's a time, I should say something now. And it wasn't, I just put out my first album, Roman XS, like a few months before. And I was in the middle, not the middle, towards the end. So I had one more show left of that album tour. And at one of the venues, which I can now say because they've sold it and I won't get them in trouble, the Grace Emily in Adelaide, they had all these pictures of like kind of like communist dictators and stuff and like Mao and all this stuff behind the bar. And I was like, you've got some mass murderers on the wall here. Like, is it just, are you a communist or is there any right-wing ones here? Or, you know, have you got Hitler just to even it out or what? He's like, I'm just a collector. I'm like, okay, so you're not just promoting Mao, like it's a collection of memorabilia. Do you have anything right-wing then to prove that you're just a collector? And he was like, I got a MAGA hat. I was like, not the same. Yeah. But can I see it? And then like I'd had a few drinks, so I put it on and took a selfie. And then it was just kind of sitting in my pocket, burning a little hole in my pocket, going, do something with me. But I didn't think I would post it. I didn't think I was that crazy, but turns out I am. So yeah, maybe a couple of months later or a month later, I don't know. It could have been weeks.
Since posting the photo, how long was it until you heard from like your bandmates?
Oh no, that was all straight away. So I posted it at night and went to sleep. I was like, this has changed everything. I know this has changed everything. And then I woke up and had so because it was a solo tour, I had a solo band who were not the Jezebels. They all sent me messages quitting. And in the morning, I was like, understood and expected, no problems. And then this is all stuff that I foresaw. And then I kind of emailed the band and was like, by the way, you know, they're not huge on social media. There's a chance they've missed it for 5 minutes. Just letting you guys know I've done this. You may receive some information. I'm happy if you want to make a statement, whatever, do your thing. Just giving you a heads up that you might get some angry people, which they had and did have some angry people, you know, trying to demand clarity from them on where they stood, which I always find interesting because I don't think you have to have all the same opinions as someone that you speak to
absolutely
or work
not.
with.
Yep, absolutely not.
Where do you stand on this? It's like, I personally would have said nothing, but they felt the need to clarify that they were not in the same boat as me with some fairly strange, vague language, I thought, that alluded to me but didn't name me and then said, we abhor the far right's moralizing over free speech. And I was like, I've never really associated the far right with free speech or moralizing over it, actually. Like, I'm pretty sure they've got a terrible, terrible history with free speech. And there's nothing particularly far right about being pro-free speech in my understanding of it.
And then also your publicist also resigned off the back
resigned,
of this.
Crew resigned.
What was their reasoning? Was it literally that you felt something, you believed something different to them? Were they worried about their brand being associated with you? Were they worried about your safety? Or
Oh, no, they weren't worried about my safety. They were worried about their brand being associated. They don't give a reason. It's given. It's a given thing that if you are a musician and you are righteous, you have left-wing views, full stop. There's like, you'll just hear like record label executives ranting about Kamala Harris and how shit Trump is and blah, blah, blah. They just assume everyone agrees. And everyone who doesn't is just silent. And so if you come out and say, like, you just don't, you literally just don't. It's like, it's just assumed that left is good, right is bad.
Has Donald Trump chimed in at any aspect? You know, sometimes when MAGA gets pulled into an artist being cancelled or something happens, he does tend to come out and support whoever it's happened to.
I think he might have been a little bit not know about it, but also a little bit, even if he did know about it, he'd just gotten in that day. It was like the day after the election. So I doubt he would have heard about it, to be quite honest with you. He was too busy. I don't know.
The sad thing is there's probably stories like this just all over the world as soon as people associated themselves with MAGA.
Yeah. I mean, there was an article that I think Pedestrian put out of like these celebrities might be secret Trump fans, or like their fans think they might be secret Trump fans or whatever. And it was like me and the chick from the Pussycat Dolls and Kim Kardashian or something. And I was like, one, why is it such a crazy thing to potentially be a fan of the guy that just won a landslide in the biggest democratic country in the world? Like 76 million people voted for him. It's not that crazy that some people might like him. And it wasn't even, I do actually like him. He's so funny.
I was literally just about to say, you've actually said that you don't necessarily love
Well,
him.
it wasn't about that. It was about the Australian misinformation bill. And just to clarify, the reason I wore the hat is that, one, I felt that they were sneaking in that bill under the Trump hysteria. So I was like, Trump had just gotten in, and then I saw that the parliament had just like slipped it in the lower house on that day. And I was like, you are definitely doing that on purpose while everyone's screaming about how their abortion rights are going to be taken away in Australia, which has nothing to do with anything Trump campaigned on, and he's also the American president, but whatever. Like, it's just insanity. And so I was like, okay, they're using this. And if some musician talks about politics, which I'd never done because I thought it was pretty lame, actually. But maybe I had a bit when I was young or something. But these days I was like, oh, politics and music's so annoying. Just shut up.
Well, remember the Dixie Chicks? I always remember what happened with the Dixie Chicks is then what sort of made a lot of musicians. I felt that was probably one of the really first big cancellations that we saw with what happened with them. This is going back a long time ago now. But the thing that I find wild about your situation is you wore the MAGA hat to get the attention that you knew that you would get.
It's like a shock jock move.
A shock jock move to be able to bring light to a very concerning bill that was being pushed through Australian Parliament, and that no one could understand that and see what you were trying to do, and instead just took the MAGA aspect of your post versus the seriousness of the bill that you were trying to highlight. Because if you just posted the bill,
no one would care.
No one would have cared. No, everyone would have scrolled straight past.
A lot of people, okay, it was twofold. I wasn't just doing that. I'd been like shaping my whole life. I wasn't just trying to illuminate the misinformation bill, though I was also like, I knew that I was taking a bow out because I was like, I've basically been shaping my life to make myself more and more independent of the industry, because I'd tried to be like, in a way that was working with people that were working with me. I'd tried to be like, hey, I don't think that all conservatives are evil, and maybe there's a market in the right wing. Like, do you ever think that maybe we should stop alienating the whole other half of politics? That, like, I'd said that to managers before, like, maybe we should be on Rumble or something. Like, it's just, we don't have to be political. You can just be on the platforms, or X, for example. People don't know this, but music industry people, not even necessarily the bands, but some, like, I don't know, some intern that works for a social media company that you hire, they refuse to post on X on your behalf as a boycott. And so you can be like, hey, why didn't that post go out on X? The social media company will say, we don't post. It's like, you work for me. Like, let's get this straight. All these woke underlings dominating every part of the industry. So anyway, point is, I tried to sort of rationally be like to people I worked with, hey, I don't think that Israel needs to be destroyed. Like, things like that. And I got kicked off shows. And it wasn't even that I was pro-Israel necessarily in the conflict. I was just like, I just don't think we need to say that it needs to be destroyed as a nation. Like, just really chill stuff. And I was kicked off a show for that. And I started just going like, and sort of not reprimanded but questioned by people going like, so are you going to talk about stuff like this, because I can't work with you if you are. And I was like, well, I wasn't planning on it,
but now I want
but
to.
I'm starting to feel like having a really rational view is not allowed in this entire industry, and it's very annoying to me. And so, yeah, it was kind of also a statement about the music industry itself, because I knew they would go berserk.
You have definitely had to pretty much sacrifice your own career to be able to really prove a point that it's problematic within the music industry, but it is also an issue around society where you can't have a debate anymore. You can't have a differing opinion without someone either just calling you a name and not actually arguing or having a conversation on facts. So do you look back now and you think it was worth the sacrifice of your career? Now you feel liberated and you can go out there and speak your mind.
Yeah, of course. And yes. I mean, I kind of knew. See, this is what people don't see. Like, every time my husband's still in the music industry, poor chap. I mean, not about being in the music industry, but
yourself still in the music
absolutely
industry.
not. No, absolutely not. I can still play shows because I've found a team that are willing to go and navigate different paths, which is new, which is why I'm doing this tour. This is the first thing I did. But for a while there, no, like I couldn't get people to book anything. I just gave up for a while. But he's kind of got that problem of being married to me and still in that world. And
is it a problem for him? Are people saying stuff to him?
It is. I shouldn't really bring him up because it'll probably make him more of a problem for him. But yes, it is. And people pressured him to, I won't say who, but people pressured him to like unlike my post and stuff. And not his band, but people who worked with. There's plenty of people that work with a band, so I'm not naming anyone. And in fact, they were so cowardly, they didn't actually say who they were. They just passed on that people high up in certain businesses would like him to unlike my post. And to which his reaction was, what kind of a man do you think I am? I have to wake up next to this woman every day for the rest of my life. I'll probably know you for about 4 more years. Like, seriously, no. But, it's a difficult position for him, but he always gets asked, the reason I brought him up was he always gets asked about me. And people are like, how's Hayley? Like, people who want to appear to be good people, like, so they kind of care about my well-being. But they know not enough to, like, stand up for me. And he's always like, she's great. Like, because it was like lifting like, I no longer have to pretend that men can be women. It's fucking amazing. Like, you know how good it is to not have to lie about the biggest gaslighting in this, like...
Yeah, or go against science, but...
Yeah,
against science.
Just basic, like, no, I can't. What are you talking about? Like, how can you say that with a straight face? Yeah. I can't. Yeah. So he's like, she's great, like, absolutely great. And they're like, oh, really? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, like, I'm just loving the fact that it was just oppressing. Like, not being able, and I could be wrong. Maybe men can be women, but I feel like I'm allowed to be wrong.
But that's it. You are allowed to be wrong, but you're allowed to have your point of view.
That's one of the things I loved when we did an episode last year with Joel Jamal, and he said this quote. He said, I have the right to be wrong. And I thought, I just love that.
I'm not wrong on this one.
No, you're not.
Because I'm pregnant now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. But one of the first things they tell you in about 10 weeks now is the chromosomes when they check you.
Yes.
Syndromes and chromosomal abnormality. And they're like, guess what? It's a girl. And I'm like, thank you. How do you know that? The fucking chromosomes.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
Biology, medicine.
We actually have more evidence now than ever before of the tradition that our senses have always told us, which is And if there's some kind of variation or mutation, it's always of one of the sexes. Like, yes, there are variations and it's difficult for those people. And this whole trans movement has made it worse for those people, I would say, because they're vilified now, like the real people that have these, defects or mutations or whatever. There's not very many of them. And the presence of this obscene activist movement that has nothing to do with those people really, making their lives harder, when really it's just about deluding teenagers and I don't know what else it's about, something weird.
You mentioned before reshaping like your future and independence of the music industry and all that. So I heard just recently, not only are you now going to have a baby, you just started a law degree.
Oh yeah, I'm about to, which is why I needed to do this tour, because I was like, if I start a law degree and I've estranged myself from all the connections that I have in the music industry, I'm probably never going to get back on stage again, realistically. You know how life just goes. And I didn't like that because for two reasons. One, I actually like singing. Two, all the people that reached out to me when I did the post, lots of people, like hundreds of people, but all, DMs, no one publicly, were like, oh, no, there was public comments from strangers and stuff, which was great and supportive. But then there was, even people in the music industry being like, please keep going. I'm too scared to, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, that kind of thing. Or just general people or people in arts or whatever. And then I go, well, hold on a minute. The last thing they see, someone voluntarily, like not getting cancelled, someone voluntarily cancelling themselves to make a stand. And then the last thing that happens is they just disappear. So he's like, what are you really showing all those people who are like, maybe you can stand up against it? It's like, if I just kind of stop, because I got kicked off some stuff and then never got back on. So I was like, I have to do one more thing and it has to just go ahead, to prove that it's possible.
What did you do work-wise straight off the back of being cancelled? Because you had one show remaining on your solo tour. What did that next few months look like career-wise for
Well,
you?
I just worked at a supermarket for like a year, which I'm still working at.
I bet there was a lot of freedom in it, though.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was good because there's a little bit of a delusion in the arts and music industry. You are, as you can see from the Grammys, you are detached from reality. And I think it's a lot to do with the fact that it's like a knowledge industry. And you can get in your head like you're in the city and you can theorize all these things, that men can be women and stuff. And that's all nice in theory, and it's a good artistic concept to play with gender, and I get that.
I called my son Bowie. Like, I named my child after an androgynous rock star. But back then, it wasn't activism. Like, he didn't tell anyone how to do anything.
It was just interesting as well. Like, it's interesting to play with these things. It's interesting to play with the idea of breaking down all boundaries and borders, but you don't then do it with your country. Like, you can't. Adults should not listen to artists for how to do policy on a national level. Like, that's not how it should be. You can play with ideas. Anyway, what was the question? Oh, the job. Yeah. And so it was kind of good because it's real life. And you go, like, you see how business works and you see the realities of things. Again, something like musicians will always say is like, just pay more for the doll, like more dolls going up, and just pay higher wages and pay higher this. And I'm working in a supermarket, and I know that, for example, how the tobacco taxes have affected revenue of all the supermarkets, how they're getting attacked by organised crime, how the tobacco revenue has gone to organised crime, and that's cut down real wages and real hours for real people. And you're like, see, these good intentions of a government have now created revenue shift from actual businesses that pay people and pay taxes to
a complete black market.
Organised crime, all this black market coming from God knows where, no one knows what's in it, cheaper, hasn't taken down smoking. So you can see that in real life and go like, wow, people are like getting less hours because this government thinks that they need to save people from their own decision to smoke, which they haven't done, and they're making kids getting murdered on the street by machetes because there's organised crime and they employ kids. And you just kind of go, whoa. Like,
it's something like 50 billion has been lost to the government in that tobacco excise, which has all gone underground.
And they're just wasting money. And this is a government who are overtaxing everything except, like it's very annoying. It's very annoying. Anyway, yeah, so it's good because, one, you switch off. It's not it's not. I do think I probably need to go back to working for myself at some point.
Well, when you're a lawyer.
Do you want to do the law stuff to work in law, or you're passionate about free speech laws and politics and podcasting. I mean, you've done so many pods now. You've got your own podcast now, which has the best name ever, by the way. Hayley Mary, quite contrary. I just think that's the best name.
Thanks for
I think I commented on it when you first released it. But has that driven this decision to study law so that you can better talk about this stuff?
A bit, yeah. I did actually start a law degree when I was 17, just out of school. And then I was like, I'm not ready. I don't actually want to be a lawyer. So I went and moved to Sydney and studied arts and started a band. And, I think that's a good thing to do when you're 18. But I think that initial bit of studying of law made me aware of how, like, basic legal principles were being thrown out the window with cancel culture. And I was like, this isn't right. Like, it's actually a miracle that we have such a good legal system. Well, it's a series of miracles upon miracles. And, like, we're just discarding it for good intentions that I don't even think of that. Good intentions. And so, yeah, I've always had an interest in the law and was maybe going to go back to it. But, yeah, interest in free speech, I feel like there could be work in it. Like when I did the MAGA post, the Free Speech Union contacted me, which I didn't know existed, and I'm going to give them a plug, actually. They're getting more popular lately for some unknown reason. And they are, like, they're bipartisan. Like, they'll defend a pro-Palestine protester if their free speech, rights are being infringed. They're not particularly political, but it does tend to be, with the way our government is, that they will have a law that could be applied to anyone, but they only seem to apply it to the side of politics that don't agree with them, which to me is total corruption. But yeah, so Free Speech Union kind of reached out to me and said, if we can help you in any way, do, and let us know. And I didn't need any help, but made me aware of them and that they will defend people who are trying to, speak out and getting cancelled or legally prosecuted or whatever. Sometimes people don't even realise that they have a right to say things and not get fired. Like early cancel culture especially, like I think a lot of that was probably illegal. And you're seeing now in the US, there's probably going to be an end to transitioning medically transitioning children because of the law courts and the cases and people getting sued now. It's been long enough of us all being too silent, too scared to speak out. Well, over there, they're ahead of us in the damage and then also the repair. But yeah, so I think lawyers are going to be quite pivotal in fighting what essentially is communism in this country, and then also just like malpractice and corruption in so many industries in the name of wokeness or whatever it is that they're doing. So yeah, I think there's a lot of work ahead legally. I also think that policies are going crazy and the laws are going crazy, and there's a lot of activist lawyers on the other side, and they're influencing things in a really heavy way. So I'm like, I don't know, I can be a musician, but like at some point I'd like to know more, even if I'm just going to be an outspoken musician, but also like how our legal system works and all these things. I just think that's a lot of the problem. People don't understand the principle of precedent, and that just because something bad happens to someone you don't like doesn't mean it can't happen to you. Like the mechanism is the same. Like a evil right-wing, government could get into power and do it to the lefties. Like you've got to see the mechanism, not the people that you think you're silencing because they're evil. It's like it often does turn on like, minorities, and these kind of free hate speech laws are never good.
Well, you have returned back to doing solo touring, your first time since you were cancelled. What's the response been to your tour and to you returning? Did you receive any negative response from people in the music industry or struggling to find a venue? Because I know you said previously it was hard.
I did, yeah. At first I did, but then I've changed. I found a new team, small team, who were willing to work with me. And they were kind of, I guess they were less kind of beholden to the woke ecosystem, because you've got like a whole ecosystem of wokeness in the venue industry and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, people who are willing to push against things or find places that would have me despite this or whatever. So, but I didn't hear any like negative feedback. I think most people are just happy to ignore me now, like just pretend I don't exist, which is fine. Or you know, I don't come up on their algorithm because they unfollowed me immediately, you know. So it's like, that's cool. So now more and more political stuff that I talk about, which I try not to do too much, but, you know, you kind of got to sometimes, is sort of with people who are sort of supportive. And then I still get very passionate trolls, but they're generally not like music industry. Most music industry people who knew me actually didn't comment at all. There was people who didn't know me, who everyone also kind of secretly doesn't like and think are bullies in the music industry, who attack anyone for anything, basically. They're the kind of people that went at me, but I didn't know any of them really.
One of the things that I really loved that I heard you say recently, it was probably on another podcast, was that when you made the decision to wear the MAGA hat and post it and everything, you knew, that's why you say I cancelled myself, because you knew what the outcome would be. But what I loved that you said was that I was prepared for other people to back away in the backlash. What surprised me was my judgment of them.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I so admire her self-awareness. But it's true, isn't it? Like we all want to see ourselves as kind and tolerant and inclusive, not in a woke way, but in a human way. And yet these people don't align themselves with your thinking at all, and so then you judge them in return.
Well, it's more like, it's less the people who never aligned and I knew who they were and they're bullies and everyone kind of doesn't like them but they're too scared to say. Those people, you know, everyone just knows how they're going to react. But it was the kind of semi-friends and acquaintances and associations and some really good friends, like people who were at my wedding, getting really angry at my husband, who didn't even do the post. And he's like, what do you want me to control my wife? I thought you were left wing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
What do you want from me? But like it was friends and it was particularly people who you know are really flawed getting moral on you, and you're like, you're going to get moral on me? Like it's hard to, I've even got sort of family members who didn't want to publicly associate with me, and I'm like, how do I want to hang out with you at Christmas? Yeah. Like, well, we can hang out privately at Christmas, but you don't want to publicly be associated with me, like stuff like that. It's like, it's quite, you want to be forgiving, but the problem is it's so, and this is why I see why the woke right emerges, is after years of people who you clearly see are actually arguing for racist, homophobic and sexist and bigoted things that abuse children, basically. But they're telling you you're inferior. And you're like, it's so hard to just to not be angry at you. So yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying. I think after a while I will let go. But sometimes you just need to hold people at a distance so that you don't tell them what you're currently thinking of them.
It's for your own protection.
I know overall it's because they're on some other side of the algorithm and they actually genuinely think that they're on the right side and they're being compassionate, and they just haven't noticed that sometimes compassion doesn't lead to the results that it desires. And that's an easy mistake to make, but it's just like, to get so actively righteous on someone who actually didn't say anything that bad. Like I didn't attack anyone.
No, you were just talking about a bill and wore a hat to stand out. What did you make of we'll wrap up in a minute, but what did you make of the Holly Valance and Pauline Hanson's?
So I haven't listened to it. I should. I've been quite busy.
Real biological woman.
Is it good? It went to
to number one.
What's annoying is, once again, like, why don't people learn that when you smear people and you cancel things, that people are not that dumb and they go, okay, there's a control here.
Especially Aussies. I think like that pendulum of Aussies just going,
But it's also, though, proving exactly what the song's about.
Exactly.
Is that when you want to get angry and cancel someone off the back of exactly what they were singing about, it just proves the point of this whole song.
Which is the same as what happened with my post. And it's like, they just keep falling into the trap. Trump's kind of a genius at luring people into traps. Like, he made the whole left wing argue for the free market. It was amazing. Like, with the tariffs, it was like, wow. That, like, I don't think he was really intending to do it, but like, so yeah, they just seem to just like run into it like lemmings. But yeah, I don't know about the song. I don't think it had.
have you seen the movie yet?
No. No. When did that come out? Like on Australia Day?
Literally. The first one was released on Australia Day in Brisbane, and I saw it the next day at the premiere in Sydney.
Is it funny?
It's funny. It's funny, but very clever. Like the script writing is genius. But the reason I asked if you had seen it is because it's actually not that bad. It's only rated, like it's rated M. I thought it was going to be rated R or something. Yeah. It's rated M. There's no sex scenes. There's no like blood and violence. I don't even think they swear. The whole idea is that you're living in a woke wonderland. It's in the future. It's set in the future, and we're living under an umbrella of the virtue signal, which is the rainbow. And King Albo has run this whole world. And then they're in a bubble, and something happens, and they've got to like come outside the bubble to the mainland where Pauline Hanson is Prime Minister, and it's Pauline's Australia. And so it's an adventure of them going out and then meeting the everyday Aussies. And they're like, quick, we're progressive. We better be racist so these everyday Aussies, know that we're not progressive. And so they make racist comments, and the everyday Aussies are going, oi, mate, what are you doing? Like, my wife's Filipino, buddy. Like,
this is the weird thing. Like, I've now, because that was the other thing. I didn't know any conservatives or what people would call themselves right wing before I put out my flag. Because I was literally, I grew up in Byron Bay, all left wing people everywhere my whole life. But I was suspicious of their theories because they didn't make sense sometimes. And then since, wearing the hat, I've met a lot more right-wing people, and they're pretty basically normally, they're just like 90s Democrats, most of them. Like, it's not that crazy. It's a lot of the views. And that none of them are racists or sexist or anything. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's quite absurd. They just more believe in like personal responsibility rather than letting the government control every part of your life and have to fund every part of everything, and like, freedom of speech and basic things. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's really weird. But yeah, but the Pauline thing, I to be honest with you, I would have liked to have spoken more about the hate speech laws. I had realized a while ago that they were just going to bring these in, and that the only thing, because they've been trying for ages with the same laws, and then people keep fighting back. But this time it's like, we've got a crisis, so we're just going to do it, even though it does the opposite of address the problem. But I would have liked to speak more about that, but I was just really tired and morning sick, like the whole last 3 months. So I was like, I just can't.
Well, there's still time. Hayley, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and we will be watching very closely what you do next, and especially as your law career progresses.
Yeah, well, I've got a little bit of study to do yet, but we'll see how I go. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the JJ Podcast.